miles an hour and just being pulled right into the back of it. Oh!
Ayrton Senna was a Brazilian Formula One legend, a three-time world champion, and renowned as one of the sport's greatest drivers. He arrived in Formula One in 1984 and immediately turned heads with his mastery in the rain. By the end of the decade, he was locked in an iconic McLaren rivalry with Alain Prost. Across 10 seasons, he collected 65 pole positions and 41 victories, figures that stood as the benchmark of that era. In 1994, Senna shifted to Williams, the team that had secured the last two titles. However, regulation changes that outlawed electronic driver aids left the car hard to adapt, and despite starting all three opening rounds from pole, he couldn't reach the finish in any of them. The 1994 San Marino Grand Prix at Imola was the weekend's marquee event. The spring weather was fair, but the weekend turned tragic. On Saturday, Roland Ratzenberger was killed in qualifying. The very next day, on May 1st, Senna was leading the Grand Prix when on lap 7, he suddenly ran wide at the high-speed Tamburello corner. His Williams FW16 Renault left the track and struck an unprotected concrete wall almost head-on at roughly 131 miles per hour.
Senna bateu forte. Ali na Tamburello. A batida muito forte.
Ayrton Senna was killed by a combination of fatal injuries sustained during the crash, primarily a severe skull fracture and brain injuries caused by a piece of suspension from his car piercing his helmet. He was only 34 years old. Ratzenberger's death the day before meant Senna and Ratzenberger were the first F1 fatalities in a race weekend since 1982, marking one of the darkest weekends in the sport's history. Technical investigators zeroed in on Senna's Williams FW16, especially a steering column that had been shortened at his request and weakened by a crude cut and weld job that left a fatigue crack, confirmed by electron microscope analysis after the crash. Prosecutors pounced, launching a sprawling manslaughter case that initially targeted Frank Williams, Patrick Head, Adrian Newey, and several officials. Most were dropped by 1997, and in 1999, Head and Newey were acquitted because the court couldn't prove the cracked column actually caused the accident, especially with Williams's own tests and the car's on-track behavior muddying the waters. Adrian Newey later remarked that regardless of cause, the faulty design was unacceptable and lessons were learned. Greg Moore was a 24-year-old Canadian open-wheel racer known for his success in Indy Lights and kart. A rising star and oval track specialist, he had won 5 kart races and finished 5th in the 1998 championship. In 1999, he drove for Players Forsyth Racing and was set to move to Team Penske in 2000. The season finale was the 1999 Marlboro 500 at California Speedway in Fontana, a 2-mile high-speed oval held on October 31st. The race drew a large crowd and a national TV audience, but quickly turned disastrous after an early wreck by Richie Hearn. On lap 10 of the 250-lap race, Moore was running in the pack behind a restart. Exiting turn 2 at roughly 220 miles per hour, his Reynard Mercedes lost grip. Television replays show the car sliding onto the infield grass, becoming airborne, and then slamming almost head first into the concrete wall.
And remember, Fontana is all about the draft with the Hanford device. It's like coming up behind a semi at 90 miles an hour and just being pulled right into the back of it. Oh! Oh, an enormous crash. Oh my God. A terrible crash. Yellow comes out again.
The impact was brutal. Onboard telemetry recorded a 154 G peak deceleration, meaning Moore was pressed against 154 times his body weight for a fraction of a second. Moore's car flipped upside down and struck the wall cockpit first, causing massive head trauma. Moore was airlifted to a hospital, but died of massive head and internal injuries about an hour after the crash. Kart investigators impounded the remains of Moore's car and reviewed data and video. They found that Moore had begun losing control mid-corner in turn 2, with no evidence of mechanical failure found. Kart director Wally Dallenbach noted that Moore's car had flipped on a sloped infield surface road lower than the grass, which the car dug in and inverted like a flat stone skipping off water. In the aftermath, Kart and the track management proposed safety changes, for example, paving part of the grass and constructing tire walls ahead of the concrete barrier to act as a catcher's mitt for cars leaving the track. Bob Price was a British road racing rider from Stroud, Gloucestershire. By 2014, at 65 years old, he had competed in the Isle of Man TT since 1992 and was a veteran of numerous Manx Grand Prix or MGP races, especially in classic classes. A car body shop owner by trade, Price had several notable mountain course results. He finished third in the MGP Junior Classic in 2002 and runner-up in the MGP Senior Classic that same year. In 2013, he even rode a vintage 500cc machine in the inaugural Classic TT. Long respected in the road racing community, Price was known for skill on both modern and historic machinery. On June 2, 2014, during the afternoon's Supersport 1 race at the Isle of Man TT, tragedy struck. The mountain course is a 37.73-mile public road circuit through villages, one of the world's most challenging and risky tracks. Price was racing on a 600cc Yamaha YZF-R6 in the Supersport class on the third lap of 4 as he crossed Ballof Bridge, a famous humpbacked stone bridge near Kirkmichael. He lost control at 110 miles per hour and struck a wall head-on. The exact cause of the crash, like mechanical failure, rider error, or track conditions, was never publicly determined. The Auto Cycle Union, or ACU, which governs the TT, announced that they had been informed of Price's death and stated that a coronial investigation was underway. Beyond those official statements, investigative details are limited in the public record. No inquest findings or technical analyses have been released in detail, but to my eye, Price seemed to have braked too late before the turn, causing him to go too fast and jump too far on the bridge. This may have caused him to panic and lose control even further, until it was too late. Toru Takahashi was a young Japanese racing driver from Hiroshima who was rapidly climbing the national motorsport ladder. Known as the wing car prodigy, he excelled in ground effect cars. He won multiple junior formula races and in 1982 finished among the top drivers in the All Japan Formula 3 Championship. In 1983, he campaigned in Japan's Premier Series, the Fuji Grand Champion Series, and the All Japan Formula 2 Championship. By October 1983, Takahashi had become one of Japan's most promising talents. Teammate Aguri Suzuki later recalled that if Takahashi had lived, he would definitely have been in F1. On October 23, 1983, the season finale of the Fuji Grand Championship, the Fuji Masters 250 kilometers, was held at Fuji Speedway. Over 30,000 spectators lined the track, drawn by Japan's top sports prototype contest. In the Fuji Masters race, Takahashi was running second and pressuring veteran Kazuyoshi Hoshino for the lead on the second lap. Video and reports indicate Takahashi's MCS4 BMW, a chassis by March Engineering with a BMW engine and also a ground effect prototype, appeared stable through the fast corners. Suddenly, at the last corner exit, his car spun on its own late in the turn, without obvious collision. As the car spun at around 155 miles per hour, its underbody lost the normal Venturi downforce. In effect, the ground effect aerodynamics reversed, so the car's floor plus suspension rebounds after loads come off, and air gets under the car, making the car act like a wing. The car flew roof first toward the spectator fence. Tragically, the crash killed Takahashi and one female spectator instantly. According to police reports, 3 other spectators were injured by flying debris. Takahashi was pulled from the wreck and taken to the circuit's medical center, but was pronounced dead. He was just 23 years old. After the crash, the Grand Champion Series banned shaped underbodies altogether, mandating flat bottoms